Hey, and welcome back to the #1 podcast in the world, Cellarcast, episode 71. Can you believe it? We're well into the 70s. Well, not well into the 70s now, but apologies if today sounds a little weird on the microphone. I just sat down and opened up Dark Audacity and just tried to record, and I noticed that the audio levels were super peaking and strange and weird, and I have no idea what happened. But it seems like all of my sound settings got just messed around with, and Windows had my microphone's volume like maxed out for some reason, so everything was getting super blown out. I tinkered with it a little bit to try and minimize some of that effect. It might still sound kind of weird and tinny, or you might hear more buzzing in the background. I have no idea what the freaking issue is. It might have been I cleaned out my computer the other day, which involved like powering the whole thing down and unplugging the power supply and all that. So maybe that had some kind of weird resetting effect, but yeah, really weird. Apologies if today sounds a little strange. Also apologies, because this video is coming out way later. This podcast is not coming out on a Monday like usual. And that is because I could not be bothered to do any work last Sunday. I did not have a single day off in October until Halloween. Which was the day that I went to Kat and I. Kat really wanted me to visit her on campus, so for Halloween, and meet like her classmates and her teachers. So I went with her. I had to wake up super early. Well, actually, oh god. So after like a full month of never having a day off, the night before, I finished everything. I finished all the stuff I had to get done, except for the audiobook, but I knew that wasn't going to be a lot of work. I finished the video and everything, uploaded it. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to fall asleep early so that I can wake up, because I got to wake up at like 6 a.m. to catch the bus in time to make it to her. So I fall asleep at like 9 p.m., pretty early, right? And I wake up at 10 p.m. I slept for 1 hour. I basically took a nap. And you know what? When I woke up, I was super awake. And there was no way I was going to get back to sleep in any reasonable amount of time. So I'm like, well, fuck, I'm just awake. So that's when I did the audiobook and everything, and got that uploaded. And, when like 6:30 rolled around and I had to leave to catch the bus, I did so. And I spent the day with her on campus, which was fun. Fucking found out she only had 2 classes that day. I found out from her later, one of her professors, who was really nice. She seemed very nice, because she likes to tell people, this is Kat, she likes to tell people that I'm a YouTuber. Apparently, her teacher calls her professor for one of her classes that I met calls her Mrs. Seller. I felt so embarrassed. And I can't even tell you why. Mrs. Seller. Oh my fucking god. Oh, it looks like it just peaked there. So I can't control when it peaks and when it doesn't. I'm sorry. I'll try to normalize some of that. Learned about audio normalizing the other day. Anyway, so yeah, I did not get back home until 6 or 5:30 in the evening on Halloween, and I just went straight the fuck to sleep. So I was basically up from like 10 p.m. to 6 p.m. the next day, which I'm pretty sure is that 24 hours? No, it's wait, is it? No, it's not. I was up for too long is the problem. So I went to sleep. I slept for 12 hours. I slept from 6 to 6. And then guess what? On Monday, I woke up. I was a little groggy, but I was like, all right, 12 hours sleep. That's not bad. And then, I kind of got up, did a couple I kind of got my day started. And then I just ended up I ended up laying down around 11 a.m. and just took an hour-long nap. And after I woke up from that nap, I felt great. I felt so good. It's the best I've felt in a long time. So that was cool, and I haven't done anything the last couple days. Forgive me. Forgive me. Yeah, so I'm that was weird. Audacity just fucking stopped recording. My microphone didn't even come unplugged like it usually does when that happens. That was strange. Well, anyway, I'm getting back in the saddle now, guys. So, well, maybe not for like a day or two more, because I don't know, still feel stressed. But we're gonna jump into the podcast today, because I like doing the podcast. I literally just did not want to do any work, anything at all, including this. So, no questions from last time, but I did want to talk about a rare YouTube W. That's right, the odd, the uncommon YouTube win of a good decision that it has no downsides. So YouTube introduced a lot of layout changes, most of which I don't like. That ambient mode shit, oh my god, where the light is like bleeding out from behind the screen, from behind the video. Oh my god, why the fuck is that turned on by default? Why is it turned on? Thank god you can just go in the little settings like wheel, the little cog on the player, and just turn that shit off. Oh my god. Actually awful. Whoever made that decision, don't let them make decisions again. Don't let them do that. Rounding off the corners on thumbnails, that's annoying as shit. You know why? Because I don't make thumbnails with rounded corners. No one makes every single image that anyone has ever edited is with sharp corners. Everyone edits thumbnails like a fucking regular image. Why did you do that? It doesn't mess with my thumbnails too badly, but it's so annoying. It's so annoying. I fucking hate that. The whole like rounded thing. I made another rare tweet, which was a little zinger I came up with, which was the new YouTube UI. The new YouTube design has reminded me that there are more UI designers than there are UIs to design. Like, this has been a problem for so long at YouTube, where I'm convinced they just have these people, and they don't want to let them go, which is like, alright, fine. But they have fucking nothing for them to do, because the layouts are already fine, so they just keep fucking with it. They just keep fucking with it, consistently, year after year. Year after year, to just make it a little bit more annoying, just make it a little dumber, and there's tiny little changes, and it's the most obnoxious thing. I have to get that out of the way before I talk about the positives, because I do want to talk about the positives, because I think that they do outweigh the negatives on the whole. The big positive is they have finally separated content types on channel pages. So what I mean by that is there are now separate tabs on a channel page for videos, live streams, and YouTube shorts. Thank God. This is a change that I am convinced I almost wonder, right? I know this didn't happen, but like, did they listen to my rant from like 6 months ago on how this website could be I had literally this exact topic, and technically this isn't everything that I would have wanted. I wanted, it's the first step, it's part of it. I had a laundry list of changes that I think would actually benefit the site greatly that just have to do with layout, which I can talk about it since we're on the topic. So, okay, here's why this is good if you aren't aware. So, having multiple different types of content is kind of bad for a channel. It's kind of bad for a channel because, I mean, that's the whole reason I have this channel, the Cellarcast channel. It's because having a bunch of big-ass, long-form podcasts that are like 2 hours, totally different from like the main videos that I'm making on the Cellar. So it's just better to split them, to divide that content, right? Because when someone, it's like a psychological thing. When someone sees a video on a channel that they like and they go and check out the rest of the channel and they go to the channel page, there's this psychological thing that happens where you look at the most recent stuff that they've uploaded to get a gauge for like, okay, how often do they put stuff out? What are they putting out? And sometimes you'll see, oh, they just haven't uploaded in like 3 years. I'm just not going to subscribe because they obviously don't make videos. Or the video that I really liked from them is like the only video of that type that they've ever done. So, or they do it way too infrequently. I want to subscribe to get a specific thing from them. And sometimes it's like, yeah, just a one-off video, and yeah, it's too bad that not all the videos are like that, but that's how it goes. Like, there's probably, like, I've made 3 art analysis videos, and people who like those really like those videos. I don't know how many more of them I'll do, but like, I can imagine a demand for like an entire channel that's just me doing that or something. But it's not like what I want to do. I should probably make a playlist to kind of like separate some of that kind of content. Maybe that would be neat. So having very different audience, having content side by side on your channel that is for totally different audiences or that has very different appeals. For instance, a highly edited, like fully scripted little like documentary thing next to a totally unedited 2-hour podcast where it's just me rambling about stuff. Yeah, someone who clicks on the first thing is not going to be interested in the second thing, most likely. So that's why I have this second channel. That extends to different types of how YouTube categorizes different types of content. Videos, lives, shorts. Because if I click on channel, I see most of what they do is shorts, whereas I like their short form videos, or the opposite. Like, I'm like, okay, so for instance, there's a channel called Wes Hammer, and he does these really, it's just re-uploads from his TikTok, but he just does these really short, like 1 minute little bite-sized videos on Warhammer lore, and they're really fun, and it's a really, like, he has this very, like, he's just reading off of a wiki page essentially, but he has a good charisma, he has a good delivery, he's not directly reading off of it, like, he makes it interesting, but all the facts, he's basically just taking a bullet point list and saying it in an interesting way in like a little 1 minute thing. And that's great because there's a lot of teeny tiny little things in Warhammer, like this kind of unit of this army that's like cool, but you can't make like a 20-minute video out of it. So I just watched a bunch of his YouTube shorts, and they were pretty fun. And I actually learned a little bit of things like, oh, I've never really looked into this faction very deeply to know what exactly these guys' deals are. Like this specific little thing. Like, are you gonna watch? Like, he had this one about the Harlequin Death Jesters. Like, are you gonna watch a 20-minute video about the Death Jesters? No, but like a little minute-long thing about, like, look at these fucking crazy clown, like, goth clowns with big guns. They're in the Harlequins. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I'll watch a minute about that. I mean, I love Harlequins, so I'd watch a 20-minute thing about anything related to Harlequins, but that's cool. And then he started uploading more long-form videos, and I actually kind of lost interest. I'm sure they're good. They seem good. He has like a good presentation, but I'm just not that interested. If he made a separate channel, which he might have done already, I would just fucking subscribe to that one, honestly, because I like the little bite-sized videos. But having... So, like, that's a big deterrent from people, like, subscribing to your channel is if you've got, like, a bunch of live streams that just clog up your videos tab. Now, they have finally introduced separate tabs for all of these things. And you know what? It's actually, like, it's so... Like, when I talk about, like, the purely positive, what I mean is down to, like... If you've never live streamed before, or if you've never uploaded a YouTube short, those tabs won't appear on your channel. As soon as you do a live stream, excuse me, that tab, that it'll show up, and the archive of the live stream will be there. Perfect. Fantastic. That's exactly how it should work. Kudos. Whoever, as a complete opposite to the ambience mode thing, whoever made this decision, don't promote them. Don't promote them. Keep them in that position, give them a pay raise, and let them keep making decisions like that. Do not take them away from that job. Keep them in that job and pay them better. This is fantastic. So now I can actually do live streams on this channel because like live streaming's fun. When I've done live streams in the past, they've been really fun. More so when I had like a little bit more of an audience, and it wasn't just like maybe one of my friends just stopping in to say hi, which shout out to you guys. But it was like really fun. Like when I did the Game Awards stream, and all that stuff was a blast. But I can only do that stuff for special occasions, like very, very infrequently, because I don't want to just throw a bunch of live streams, because I upload, twice a month. If I have a bunch of live streams in the middle of my uploads, that would look fucking terrible, right? I'd have the same problem as, like, with the podcasts. Now, I could just do a live stream when I want to. And you'll get a notification for it, and it won't clutter up my channel page. It'll be in its own little section. Great. And you know what? This is like one of the first steps on the way to YouTube actually just killing Twitch outright. So videos, like live streaming, is a fucking nightmare, awful industry because the only companies that exist are the ones that got their foot in the door early enough. I don't know if there's any possibility that anyone could ever make a truly new, like a startup to compete in the live streaming business, as a service. I mean, like a live streaming platform. I really don't think you can do it. Because it's so costly that it's so costly, and it requires so much upfront investment of both like money and also just people, like an audience. You need those people. Like Twitch got their foot in the door early enough, and they had a decent enough layout, and they were easy enough to use, and they got enough people to be basically, dedicated Twitch users that they just became the guys. Now YouTube is like, let's extend our big audience to live streaming. They can actually do that. Microsoft couldn't even do that because I don't know, like I guess it's Microsoft. It's just less easy to use like a Mixer or something. It's less easy to just Microsoft did not have like an existing platform that they could like shuffle people to just a new section of. YouTube can actually do that, and I genuinely think that YouTube could obliterate Twitch in a record time if they just fixed the fucking layout of the site. And here's what I mean. Okay. One of the biggest problems with Twitch as a platform is that it's like freaking impossible to grow. Twitch live streaming platforms are interesting because unlike just a video platform like regular YouTube, let's say, on YouTube, right, you can watch in 1 hour, you can watch videos from 7 different people. And you can be exposed to like a ton of different people in just one by one by one by one. Lots of different creators. You go to your homepage, slapped with a bunch of videos of things that you're interested in and new stuff that you can find. You go on Twitch, and because it's a live stream, when you're live, your content is only, you're basically, your video, whereas, okay, on YouTube, you upload your video, the video is there forever, essentially. It's perpetually able to gain views. On Twitch, you can only gain eyeballs when you are live. When you're not live, your content like doesn't exist because nobody watches stream archives on Twitch. Just nobody does it. The retention is terrible. So you only exist when you're live. Second problem. Because of how like time works, if two people are live at the same time, it's like broadcast television. If you have a competing time slot, for instance, okay, XQC is live. Let's say you're playing the same game as XQC. Who do you think people are going to watch? You or him? Because they are only going to pick one. They can only watch one. So you have to like balance, or you have to like dance around the times of the huge streamers. And there's so many huge streamers now, it's like impossible. So you can only have so many people watching you, because otherwise they'll just, and they're incentivized to go watch bigger streams because bigger streams have livelier chats. And what's fun about live streams is the streamer interacting with the chat. So having a more active chat means the streamer has more people to interact with. A lot of the most entertaining streamers are people who are able to actually bounce like back against their chat in like entertaining ways. If you have like one person in your stream who never types, like what are you gonna, it's just inherently like less, the atmosphere is much duller, right? And that's just a fact. You can be a great entertainer, but a lot of people socially like, they like the social aspect of being in a lively Twitch chat. So growing on Twitch fucking sucks. It's incredibly top heavy because everyone just funnels towards the people who are already big. And when people are, because those people who are already big, this is kind of uncourteous to say, maybe a little rude, but they are in a way stealing is not the right word. They are claiming views. They're claiming eyeballs while they're live. There's only so many eyeballs and they are claiming them. Everyone else, they're claiming them as opposed to everyone else on the platform who might be live at that moment. So, from what I understand, because I've heard many, many, many different people who are on the Twitch grind talk about this, so I feel like it's pretty true. the most effective way to grow on Twitch is to make a YouTube channel. It's actually not to focus on Twitch. It's to stream and then make sure that you can make each stream into a YouTube video of some kind. If it's a short clip, if it's an edited together little, supercut, if it's whatever. And then you build an audience on YouTube and send them to your Twitch chat. This is the most fucked up, stupid growth situation, trajectory ever. What? Imagine if you... what's even a good analogy? I just... imagine you're working at... I don't fucking know. Adidas. And in order to... No, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, no, wait. Yeah, you're working at one company, technically. And then you have to, you're working at Adidas, and then in order to get a promotion, you have to wear... What's the Adidas rival? Oh. What is it? I don't know shit about shoes. Why did I use this as an example? Adidas rival. Adidas... I'm just getting crossword clues. Getting crossword clues for Adidas rifles. Adidas, let's say versus Nike. Sure, Nike. Okay. To get a promotion at Adidas, at the Adidas job you work, you have to wear Nikes to work. I don't know. This is a terrible analogy. I don't know why I spent so much time on this. It's stupid. You should be able to, you understand what I'm talking about. Why do you need to go to a competing platform to build an audience there to send them over to Twitch? It's ridiculous. And it almost defeats the purpose of even doing Twitch. So, but okay, the reason I say almost defeats the purpose, the reason it doesn't entirely defeat it is because streaming on YouTube is weird and bad, and it's good in some ways and it's bad in others. The good things are that the experience is pretty good. YouTube, the player is really stable. Ad block works on YouTube. It has less features, doesn't have channel points and things like that. Channel points are really fun. I think they should implement something like that if they haven't been working on it already. It doesn't have a couple things like that. I've heard people who don't like the way that the chat moves on YouTube, it moves too fast in the YouTube thing. But YouTube even has plugin support. You can just make a plugin that fixes certain problems or things because of YouTube API. Those things exist. I have a plugin, right? I have a plugin on YouTube that what's it called? Hyperchat or something? It's basically for VTuber streams, specifically HoloLive streams, because in every HoloLive stream there'll be a couple fantastic people who are just there live translating things into English. And there's an extension that has a couple improvements for chat, but one of them is there's a separate tab in the chat just for community vetted translators who are oh yeah, they're always in Pekara's stream translating and things like that. So that stuff's already possible with YouTube. Great suite of features. And the fact that everything's on the same platform is a huge boon if you're trying to do streaming on YouTube. The biggest problem is just the discoverability and the algorithm. Going to the YouTube live thing. Let me just randomly hop on over to... Okay. So I'm on the Cellarcast. Let me switch over to my personal. Actually, let's do a test. So I'm on the Cellarcast YouTube channel. So I don't subscribe to anybody on this. I barely watch videos on this. I just use this to upload. So if I go to, where even is live? Live, okay. Explore. Okay. Featured live streams. There's like a live channel. Why is there a live channel? Like, it's just you can subscribe to the live streams channel. So you get Los 40, which I'm assuming is some Hispanic music thing. There's a pre-show, Music Awards 2022. Godzilla Day 2022. Oh, Godzilla Day 2022 live stream. Okay, live now. Overwatch League 2022 season playoffs day 5. Lo-fi hip-hop beats to relax study to. Some kind of political podcast. Cool parenting hacks, rich versus poor. What? Is this just like one of those live streams of like continuous YouTube videos? Tim the Tapman has an announcement. November Jazz. Like, what the fuck is this? Okay, maybe it's because I don't have much I don't have a lot of data. So let's jump over to my personal account, which is the one I actually use to watch things. It's the exact same thing. It's literally the exact same page. Okay. And then they have like a YouTube gaming thing. Okay, YouTube gaming, which is different from live, but it's also gaming. Oh, okay, they got this little layout with different games. Looks kind of reminds me of Twitch. Technoblade Never Dies? What the fuck is that? It's just like a big playlist of Technoblade videos. And oh, because it's gaming. Oh, so it's not. And then there's shorts, and then regular videos, and then there's a recommended thing, which just looks like my regular YouTube recommended because I already just watch mainly gaming content. So what the fuck? I don't know if this... I'm sorry this is a terrible listening experience. I'm just trying to, like, understand, like, if I want to watch live streams, okay, you have the top live games. Let me click... Overwatch 2, that's hot. Okay, you got, like, Overwatch 2 streams. That's fine. There's, like, VODs and stuff mixed in with that, which is okay. It's a little... I'm not really being recommended live streams based off of things that I already like. Like, you would think for me... Like, here's a funny thing. You would think that for me, YouTube would just be jamming, like, fighting game live streams down my throat, right? I don't even know where I would find one. Okay, live games. Auto-generated by YouTube. Is there a single fighting game on here? I'm really looking. MKX. MKX, not 11? That's weird. That's strange. 11? Why did that? Are there more people streaming MKX than 11 right now? I'm just literally trying to find something related to that. Let's see, MKX. Okay, there's like 4 live streams right now. Alright. I just, like, there should be a section of, like, okay, here's how I would do it. Here's how I would do it. Okay, just take all of the data of things that this person is interested in based on what they already watch, and then just find live streams related to that. Like, just find live streams related to that and then have a section on the homepage, like at the very top of the homepage. Just have a little carousel of, like, here's a couple streams related to things you're interested in. Like gaming streams or whatever. And then click on the live thing, and don't make it this weird freaking, like, channel that you can follow that has a bunch of stuff, like, just completely random nonsense on it with no organization. Just here's what you do. YouTube has had video categories for forever. Literally forever. Since like the website launch, like lifestyle, fashion, education, gaming. Just have like Twitch does, but in like where you just have like a bunch of things you can click on. What am I talking? A bunch of little panels to click on of those different categories. I want to watch lifestyle streams. I don't know what that means, but if you categorize it underneath lifestyle, I want to watch that. Like imagine live vlogging or something like that, right? That would be a great like place to put the people who just do like streaming in public type of things. Put that under like lifestyle or something like that. Education, some kind of educational stream. Gaming, and you click on gaming, takes you to that whole list of games that are like the top games, just like Twitch has, like top games that are live right now. And just I don't know, like I feel like if they just properly separated the types of content, specifically live, excuse me, and they just made it easy to use, it would be overnight. I'm exaggerating, but like so quickly. Because here's the thing. This is not just one of the struggles that YouTube has had for years, trying to get its live streaming thing off the ground. It's just getting people on the site. Because there's so many personalities who just exist on Twitch for their live streaming. Why? So what they've had to resort to doing is literally just buying them. Just giving them big-ass contracts and saying, hey, come to our website, guys. Come to our website. And then they're like, sure, I'll take the money. It's decent enough. I already have a following on YouTube. So they can make the move, but the fact that you've had to buy talent over does not bode well. The biggest boon, or the best thing they've had going for them, is honestly VTubers, because a lot of VTubers stream on YouTube because it just happens to be more popular than Twitch in like Japan. So a lot of Japanese VTubers stream on YouTube. That's like the biggest thing. That's why I watch streams mainly on YouTube, honestly. Changing the site to be better, in like rearranging it so that it's easier to find and that you can have everything. Here's the thing, right? Okay. You can solve so many problems. YouTube can solve so many problems that streamers face. They can actually have the solution, because like, oh shit, I have to start a YouTube channel and run it and send direct people over to Twitch, and like the conversion rate is going to be garbage. As opposed to, I can just make a channel on YouTube, do my live streams, take the live streams, edit them together, make little clips, put them in the videos tab, have the live streams in the live tab. And this is really where the value is. It's because it's not about getting people from Twitch to like big names to come over from Twitch. It's about, in the next 5 years, there's going to be a host of people who explode live streaming, just completely blow up, right? That you've never heard of, who no one knows right now, who probably haven't even started. And in the next 5 years, they're going to be fucking huge. It's going to happen. Today, on day 0, that person has to make the decision of what platform they're going to stream on. They're going to start their thing on. And if YouTube is the better option, if it just makes things easy and seamless, and it's like, fuck, if I'm going to make a YouTube channel for my streams, might as well just do it on YouTube. Might as well just stream on YouTube anyway. And if they just get these little roadblocks out of the way, of the layout of the site, of the way that streams get recommended to people, they will reap, within the next 5 years, they will reap the rewards massively of these little things, that could be done to fix it. Just take out the headaches. Take out these little dumb things. And thankfully, moving this just little decision of starting implementing adding these separated tabs in the channel page is a great first step. I can only hope that it leads to further development of these things, because God, it's sitting right there. They could have been doing this stuff last year, 2 years ago. And the fact that it's taken this long is dumb. But like, oh my God, you know, it's one of these things with just these incredibly heavy companies. Like heavy, when I say heavy, I mean like they move slow. They are not quick to implement things, even then they're obvious. Well, but they'll implement a fucking shitty update to the UI. They'll do that. They'll do that every 8 months or so. But not fixing these like core issues that are actually holding them back from making $1 billion. So, bottom line is, I'm glad that this update was made, and I'm actually going to do streams now. When I'm feeling back up on my feet, I want to go do some streams of like, if I had more time and energy, I really wanted to stream the Xrd beta. The last day of it was on Halloween, and I was like, yeah, it just wasn't going to happen. Hey, when the Xrd beta comes back, and I know that there's like a mod, and you can mod it back in if you want. I don't feel like it. I might just start off with some plus R, because I genuinely don't know whether or not streaming fighting games on a wired connection is going to be workable for me, because when I switch to my wired connection, my speed... That's a whole other story. That's a whole other story, but suffice to say that my speeds get a little hit when I switch over to a wired connection. So for you might say that sounds weird. It is, but so I'll probably just do some test streams, and guess what? I can do a little test stream, and it's not going to be bad for my channel because it's just going to go in the live tab. You know what was so weird is I heard about this change like a week ago or something, like a few days before it got implemented. That they're going to implement the separate tabs, and I went and I looked, and where was? It's so hard to find information from YouTube on so many things. It's like, what was it? Creator Insider channel? Creator Insider. Yes, this is them. These are these people who I see when I go to YouTube Studio, and they're always trying to give me videos from them, and I'm like, what is this? So they just put out this video. Where was it? Yeah, 10 days ago. Sneak peek visual updates coming to YouTube, and like tucked into this, oh god, that was so loud. Tucked into this video is this detail about, where is it? Hashtags, ambient mode, dark theme, URLs and video descriptions, playlists. So, was it this video? Buttons, thumbnails, and channel info? Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was. Why are they using the subscribe image? Wait. Okay, they just made a little reference to when the subscribe button was yellow. It was that yellow and brown. They just made this very low-key little video that was mostly focused on... Where even was it? Was this even the right video? Anyway, this tiny little video talking about this new feature, this new layout update. And I was watching it and I was like, what? It was so weird. And you know why? Is because, like, the video was bad. Yeah, here it was. Sneak peek channel page improvements. So it's this lady just talking in front of a background, and you're like, okay, what can be wrong with this? It's, like, edited badly. Like, there's a bit where she's talking, and it just cuts off before her sentence is over. And I'm like, what? We're just like these and like every cut in between is very jarring. Like every cut between takes is really jarring, and it's strange because the reason it is because they're just hard cuts between like lines. Like she finishes a sentence, hard cut, start the next sentence, and that's like not how you edit things. I'll tell you a little secret I learned. It's called a J cut. It's where when you're cutting between two different shots, even it's like the same. It's cutting between two different shots. We'll just say. Bring in the audio before the video, before the visual part cuts. It makes it way smoother, just a little bit. Like when you start noticing this in like YouTube videos, where people will they'll finish what they're saying, and then the next line will start, and they just kind of stare at the camera for like half a second, and then it cuts to them talking. Like visually, the video cuts. That makes it way smoother. That makes your video flow much better, and when you just do hard cuts, you end up with a lot of very jarring, honestly kind of awkward moments where someone's just staring at the camera for like a split second before they start talking. Yeah, that stuff, it creates this weird moment, and they were like doing that in this video, and it was so strange because I was like, this is YouTube. Like, this is a YouTube page. Creator Insider about what? An informal YouTube channel to share information from the YouTube creator technical team with the wider creator community. So so this is like an official thing. They don't say unofficial, it's an informal. So this is like an official channel of people who work at YouTube. And like, it's just, I get that like it's not a big deal, but it's just very ironic to me that like the people who are informing me about or who are apparently making changes to my job like can't put together a video properly. Like really, really basic editing things. Don't feel bad if you don't do these and you make videos. It's just like you would think that like a professional like who's like, is the intern editing this? Who is like in like Windows Movie Maker or something? Why is it so weird? Like why is it so poorly / amateur? Why is it so amateurish? Like why? You are controlling my job? What? So yeah. That was funny. That was something I noticed. But I will be I would like to do streams in the future. I want to play fighting games with you guys. I want to just maybe boot up a stream randomly and then just chat a little bit and play some games. Like, that's fun, and now I can do that. That's so cool. It's actually energized me a lot, the idea of it. Because I can just do it infrequently. Because I don't want to... I feel like if I made a whole Twitch, I would have to... the fact that I'm shepherding people from my YouTube channel to a Twitch channel, to me, I feel like in order to justify it, I would have to stream consistently. And I don't want to do that. I just want to stream whenever I'd like. So yeah, I will do another stream of the Game Awards because that was also really fun. Yeah, I can just do these things now. I can just do these streams, and then if you don't want to watch it, you don't gotta. I think you can. Can you change? Let me see. Can you set specific? Ugh, no, you still can't do that. Wait, personalized. No, personalized does not. Okay. You should be able, on the notification bell, you should be able to select whether or not you want to get notified about live streams going live. You should be able to do that. That's like one other thing I would mention that they should implement. It should just be a checkbox. Should just be a checkbox of things you want to get notified for, and how often. That was a long time spent ranting about something. I wanted to talk about a little article I read. So, the last couple podcasts, I've totally forgotten to bring this up. So, there was an article that was posted to, I think, Polygon? Oh, does that not exist anymore? I just looked at the tab I had open of it. Well, anyway. And it was about how Millennia in the Elden Ring, Millennia from Elden Ring is some weird sexist character who is like reflects poorly on women, and it was really bad and it came off really stupid, and from what I understand, the author basically just cherry picked things from basically just took character traits that everyone in every FromSoft game possesses, and they just weirdly applied it to only the female characters and acted like they were different. And it was really bad. And I'm not going to talk about it. Because that would be giving the editors what they want. So here's, like, there's terrible journalists. There's many terrible journalists. And the editors know that what they write is shit garbage. But they let it through. They let it through because it's going to get rage clicks, and I'm sick of it. And I'm not going to support it. I'm not going to link it. And if you see an article title that strikes you as really dumb, I implore you to not click on it, or click on it with ad block on. Don't encourage them. Do not encourage them, because there's good people who work at a lot of gaming publications. There's good journalists who do good work, and I think that they do not deserve to have the association with these fucking clowns who write stupid articles. I would like to talk about a good article from like a year ago. For some reason, this got posted relatively recently on Reddit. I read the article. It was really fun. It's from Wireframe by a chap named Alan Wen. It's called The Lost Art of Handheld Demakes. So the whole article is about this thing that we don't really see very much anymore. Like, you kind of see... There's this phenomenon that, like, the kids today are not really going to have, where you'd have the big console game, and then you'd have a very different version of it on a handheld system. Either massively scaled down or a totally different kind of game entirely. Like, I was recently just reminded of excuse me, a Duke Nukem game on the Game Boy Advance, which is not a first-person shooter. It's just like a side-scrolling action platformer, like the original Duke Nukem games, pre-Duke 3D. And like, oh, cool. That was a very resourceful way to make a game. Like, Didn't even attempt, and God bless him. So, oh, my neck. So they have a couple examples of some really interesting handheld demakes, so to speak. So one of the first ones here is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. So Vicarious Visions, who ported the game, took the original code of the PlayStation 1 game and got it to work on the GBA. So apparently the GBA port of Pro Skater 2 is like really good for being a very scaled down, crunchy version of the game. Apparently feels like they had some there's a quote here from one of the lead programmer on the game. He goes, that's why people still to this day say it feels like it did on the PlayStation. It's because we're actually running the PlayStation code on the Game Boy Advance. The Tony Hawk port was all the more miraculous, as Nintendo told the Vicarious team that the GBA could only run C code, not C++, which is what the original game's code was in. So basically, this guy, Matt Conti, the lead programmer dude, did some freaking tech wizard hacking to get C++ to run on the Game Boy Advance. And apparently it worked, and it feels great. So, like, super cool. That's a fun story. It did come at the cost of, apparently they go into a little bit detail here, the different skaters, I believe. Yeah, so basically a lot of Vicarious Visions games use kind of like 3D renders as 2D sprites, like Killer Instinct, for instance. But they ran into a problem with Pro Skater 2 because the game is isometric and the skater can be looking in any direction, which is like an absurd amount of animation frames to have. So, what do they do exactly? I had to quickly reread this article because I read this like 2 weeks ago. I think they just cut down, like there was only one. I think it's just the Hawkster. Yeah. So that's really fun. There's one about the Sims on DS, Sims 3 on DS. There's one about like how they had to scale everything down because there was like, they go to the Sims on GBA, which was just a bunch of mini games, and they were like, we're gonna make a real ass Sims game, and it's gonna be on a handheld. Apparently, it's pretty good. What was this which Call of Duty was on the DS? Didn't it have a different Modern Warfare? Yeah. And like the way that they actually had to completely redesign. Oh yeah, this was interesting. So when they what was this? What studio did it? N-Space. So N-Space, they had to develop Modern Warfare for the DS. And they ran into this issue because so here's a quote from the producer where he goes, actually it's there's actually nothing port about it. You can't take anything from a console and put it on a DS. It doesn't work. So basically, it's not a port. It's just a DS Call of Duty game that's called Modern Warfare. Everything else is basically made from the ground up. And in fact, he goes on to say, Activision basically said to us, we can't tell you where the mainline game's story is going. We can tell you it's kind of going to be the Middle East, and we can give you general things like that, but you guys have to come up with your own storyline. So they didn't know what the story was going to be. They just had to come up with something themselves with like, okay, Middle East military shooter, all right, So they set up their games as companion titles, as Lee refers to the handheld's characters and effectively acknowledging N-Space's role as the B team. While the idea of playing as a secondary unit whose actions support the mainline scenario may also set expectations for what a DS game would achieve, the team certainly didn't want to settle for a half-baked experience that would shortchange fans of the Call of Duty brand. There was still an onus on creating wow moments, a dramatic sense of scale, and of course loads of the big explosions that the mainline series is known for. Oh, this is funny. Here's a funny detail. Due to the DS's limitations, from only being able to fit a maximum of 2,048 polygons and its meager memory space, levels had to be painstakingly mapped out almost like box rooms, all while giving players the illusion they were roaming an open, realistic environment. And then he goes on to say, because they were so we sat in so many meetings whiteboarding out just where memory was being spent. We had to know everything that went in that game, and we had to account for every byte just to squeeze absolutely everything in. But if we could gain just 10 kilobytes back from one feature code-wise, we could add this cool explosion to counteract that. We were sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul in the end. That's such a great... They were literally like, okay, we can take this thing out and replace it with another explosion. I love that. It really is like the constraints bring out the most. I think there's a lot of spoiling that might happen today. Like the incredible capabilities of like modern technology and what you can do on a budget is really like, man, you can make so much shit. But there is also a kind of loss of that kind of requirement to innovate. Like you have to really make a tight experience. You have to be very efficient. I think that might be why a lot of AAA games feel kind of bloated. It's because like they don't have any constraints put on them. There's no requirements that they have to squeeze into on a technical level. So they say, just fucking shove a bunch of shit in here. Yeah, we can handle it. As opposed to like having to actually sit down and go, okay, do we really need this, or can we take it out? Which one of these two? We have to make an option. You have to make a decision. Which one of these two things is better for the game? And those are the kinds of, like, you can totally do that if you're just very good. If your manager for the project is just very good at constraining, right? Is very diligent like that, but there's more leadership positions than there are good leaders. To echo what I said earlier about UI designers. That was a really fun read. I'll link it down below. There'll be some more stuff in that article. I kind of skimmed over most of it. It's a fun read. Good job. Back on to wonderful articles. I didn't realize the Washington Post had a gaming section. They're called a Launcher. And their Twitter bio is the most cringe thing I've ever seen. It's Nani kore? The Washington Post is covering gaming culture. That's super cringe, but it might be ironic. Wait, what the fuck? This seems like a fun article. The NASCAR driver who accelerated into the wall on the final corner to win, emulating a move from a GameCube game? Those things could have gone differently. Wait, what? Ross... Okay, his video game-like move could have been really stupid. At this past Sunday's NASCAR race at Virginia's Martinsville Speedway, driver Ross Chastain accelerated into the wall on the final corner, what he later called a video game move, to hurtle ahead of 5 other cars at the finish line, allowing him to just barely advance to this weekend's championship race. Miraculously, he sustained no major injuries and caused no crashes. Whoa. That's fucking sick and really dumb. Apparently, the article says I can't see exactly which game he pulled it from. But apparently there was some GameCube game. This dude's literally doing the Doom like wall running acceleration exploit, where you can just build up like super speed on like walls of a certain type with like a certain direction. He did that in a race? That's fucking crazy, and he won. Anyway, so they put out an article, and this one struck me, and it hit me in a good place. Joe Biden has been dominating a niche fighting game for years. So, you might hear that and have a couple questions if you are not into competitive Guilty Gear, specifically Plus R. So, I have been aware of a player, he's a Guilty Gear player. I'm assuming it's he because they go by Joe Biden. And they are a chip player who has been fucking tearing it up for a while now, like at least a year. Probably longer, actually, now that I think about it. Tearing it up online. His name is Joe Biden, plays chip in every Guilty Gear game. No one knows who he is. He just goes by Joe Biden. Like, he has no Twitter handle. He has no online presence. He just shows up. He's called Joe Biden to like online tournaments. And then he wins and then leaves. And no one knows who he is. And he plays online. In fact, I have played him online. This is one of the cool things about Plus R. Because Plus R has a just giant community lobby that everyone just shuffles into and hangs out in and just challenges people. So you can just like go... You could just go and challenge one of the best players in the world to a match and like get your ass kicked. You can just do that in Plus R. It's super cool. And Joe Biden is cracked at chip. He's so good. And I think the joke is that Chip is technically a president in Guilty Gear lore. He's a ninja president. It's very complicated. Let's read from the article. This one comes from Nathan Grayson. Every competitive scene has its boogeyman. A name that, when whispered, strikes fear into the hearts of rivals. In baseball, it's Shohei Ohtani, with his ability to both pitch and hit like he was born on the field. In boxing, it's Deontay Wilder, whose otherworldly punching power fells giants. In fighting game series Guilty Gear, it's Joe Biden. Since 2020, a player who goes by the in-game handle Joe Biden has operated at the highest levels of Guilty Gear, a fighting game series known for its flashy anime visuals and idiosyncratic characters. The game rewards, and once you hit an intermediate level, basically requires intense dedication, lending itself to a fan base that's tight-knit and passionate. Word travels fast among the series players, and in just a couple years, Joe Biden has become something of a legend. Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Wake up, super Joe Biden. Joe quoting some tweets. Joe Biden, the Guilty Gear player, has done more to improve my life in the last year than Joe Biden, the president, has. While he doesn't always win, he's competed in 116 tournaments since 2020. And more often than not, he's placed in the top 10, sometimes the top 5. Most of these tournaments took place online, lending an air of mystery to this quietly devastating figure who almost certainly is not, but could be, the 46th president of the United States. When announcing the tournament results online, oh yeah, this is a great little detail. When announcing tournament results online, organizers have taken to tagging the official @POTUS Twitter account as a stand-in for the player named Biden, who lacks a public-facing online presence. So because he has no Twitter handle that people know of, and no affiliation or anything, he just shows up. He's just an enigma. When organizers put together like the graphic for the week, for like the week's tournament or whatever, they'll just have him as like Team USA, and then @POTUS, President of the United States. Awesome, hilarious. The Washington Post, this is a real line. This is a real line, and I'm so happy. The Washington Post reached out to the White House to ask if Joe Biden, the Guilty Gear player, and Joe Biden, the president, are one and the same. For some reason, the White House did not reply. Evidence in favor of the President Joseph Robinette, his name is Robinette? Biden Jr. spends his vanishingly few hours off playing a niche fighting game theory is scant but compelling. In Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R, an older series entry that became Biden's game of choice after developer Arc System Works upgraded its online play in 2020, Biden plays as Chip Zanoff, a former drug addict and mafioso who sets his sight on and achieves, in a manner of speaking, the presidency. So if you don't know, Chip's backstory, the ninja guy from Guilty Gear, his backstory is that he was a drug addict. He's in America. He's like a white guy from America, and he was a drug addict, and he was saved from the streets by a Japanese ninja master who taught him ninjutsu. Also he was a drug seller and drug dealer. He was saved from the streets by a Japanese master who taught him how to be a ninja. And then his master was killed. So Chip takes his ninja skills and he spends like 5 games looking for the people who killed his master. Cannot do it. Just cannot find them. And so he decides, in the face of just wasting all this fucking time, that in order to make real that revenge is not a fruitful path to make change in the world. The only way to make real change is to become the president. This is real. This is what happens. I'm not even exaggerating. So he finds a region in like sub-Saharan Africa and just plants his little flag and says, "This is the Eastern Chip Kingdom." And he has like these advisors who are like, you can't be the president of a kingdom. You're the king of a kingdom. You're the president of some other kind of nation, like a republic, for instance. And he goes, "I'm the president of the Eastern Chip Kingdom." And that's where he is. That's where he is now. In lore. Also, he is a huge weeaboo. So he literally idolizes Japan, and he will tell people that he's Japanese, despite the fact that people look at him and the other characters are like, "Dude, you're clearly a white guy." And he's like, sushi, which is also not a joke. There's a running joke where he only knows basic Japanese words, like sushi and harakiri and like just pop culture references pretty much. He knows nothing about Japan or Japanese culture really. He just knows how to be a ninja, and he knows the words sushi and banzai. And he just yells random Japanese words during his attacks. Apparently, as of Strive, he has made some character development and actually learned some Japanese, but it's actually really, really amusing, because Chip, if you looked at his design and someone told you he was Asian, you'd be like, yeah, I could see that in like that kind of no defined or like nationality kind of anime sort of way. Like they have this thing in anime. This is why there'll just be Japanese characters who are like blonde and have blue eyes naturally. It doesn't make any sense, right? And that's because like they have this, because Japan is such like a homogenous culture that they there's this concept in like manga and like anime and other stuff that they do. It's like, well, I want to tell a story about Japanese people, but because I know about Japanese people and I'm comfortable setting my story in Japan with all Japanese people, but I don't want to like draw a bunch of people with the same kinds of features. So fuck it. Yeah, this blonde bitch, she's Japanese. Sailor Moon. So, so like, it's like an extra layer of humor that I don't think is intentional, that Chip, who just looks like he could be Asian, other characters look at him and they're like, dude, you're clearly not Asian. You're not even Wasian, dude. You're clearly a white guy. So I'm pretty sure the name Joe Biden is a joking reference to that. I'm assuming that this guy, that Joe Biden, the Guilty Gear player, probably went under some other name and then started going by Joe Biden after Biden got elected in 2020 as like a meme, and then he's just kept the name. Because, they get to this later in the article, it is very likely that he also goes by the name Tom Nook, because he was apparently at a tournament, and I mean he is a fucking, in Plus R. Let me just, okay, you're like, how can you tell if you don't know what he looks like if he uses a different name? You can tell in Plus R, because once you get to a really, really high level with the character, even like an intermediate level, people will play their character, the same character. Two people of the same skill level can play a character totally differently. It's one of the coolest things about the game. It's so open, because characters have so many different moves and ways that they can use those moves in different applications. It's one of the coolest things about Plus R. You can tell, you're like, he's doing a lot of the same shit, like crazy fucking mid-air fucking aerial alpha blade mid-air slash back to alter his momentum, just wild shit. And you're like, okay, this is most likely the same dude. And I have played Tom Nook online before. That's how I know I've played him. So because he went to Frosty Faustings and played under Tom Nook. So someone who knows him personally says his family and girlfriend were worried that he might stir up controversy if he competed in a major event under Joe Biden. So they asked him to change it. Ooh, neck crack again. So, wait, was this updated from the last time I read it? The saga resolved Friday when gaming outlet Kotaku spoke with player Joe Biden, who alas is not the president. So they actually got an interview with him. He says, I went through a lot of different gamer tags growing up. I ended up sticking to Joe Biden because it felt right to me as Chip Zanoff. and Joe Biden are both presidents, have white hair, and can get hurt easily. I didn't read that part. Dude, that's fucking hilarious. That's actually so funny. That's so fucking funny. Because if you also are not familiar with the Guilty Gear series, Chip is the most fragile character. So Chip's whole design is that he is the speedster of speedsters. He is the most ninja character of all. So he is what is sometimes called a pixie character, in that he's just fucking everywhere. And he's made of paper. He is the epitome of a glass cannon. His kit, his moveset, has literally every single kind of move that you could possibly ask for in a fighting game character. He has moves that like make him invulnerable and that cross up, that he can do at different angles, that he can use in the air. He has one of the best projectiles in the game with like fast shuriken. He has a fucking move that's a just giant projectile where he sends out a clone of himself that like freezes the opponent if it hits them and just gives you a free combo that can also OTG, so it can hit them when they're on the ground. He has he can teleport to different parts of the screen. He can go invisible. He has a command grab. He has an invincible reversal, which in plus R, he can spend 25 meter to FRC at the end and make it safe. He has... What else does he have? He has a Rekka series that lets him go low and high and mix up between them. Is there anything else that he has? I'm genuinely trying to remember. I'm more familiar with the plus R chip because he has other shit in Xrd. They kind of switch his moveset around a little bit. I'm genuinely trying to remember if he has any other ridiculous special... Oh, he can cling to walls. He can wall jump and run off of walls. Yeah, teleports, invisibility, Rekka, shuriken. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What is he? What did they give him in Xrd? I'm certain they changed around some of his stuff in Xrd. Okay, Alpha Blade, Beta Blade, Gamma Blade, teleport, invisibility. Actually looks like pretty similar character. Although they actually gave him, interestingly enough, one of his moves from plus R as just like a thing that was a force break at plus R. Now he can just use it as, so he gets another thing. Shinkiro, just like a, I don't even know how to. It's just this weird upward kick. Oh right, they let him use moves. They gave him follow-ups to his wall cling, so he can cling to the wall. He can run up and down the wall, and then while he's clinging to the wall, he can hit an attack button, and he'll do like a Beta Blade slash jumping off of it. That's also, I think, makes him invulnerable. He can throw a shuriken, or sorry, a kunai. He gets like 2 different command grabs. It's fucking ridiculous. He does everything you would ever want a ninja character to do, and the trade-off for this is that he dies in 2 hits. Practically. Actually, the explanation... So people will usually just gloss over this, and they'll just say, like, oh yeah, Chip has the lowest health in the game. That's not technically true. The real explanation is actually a lot funnier. So... every character in Guilty Gear has the exact same health total. It's like 420, I think. It's around 420. Don't make the joke. I'm not going to make the joke. They have like 420 health, right? Everyone has the same health total. However, there are other hidden system mechanics that affect how much damage you take. So characters actually take different amounts of damage based on different things. So for instance, there is a thing called Guts, which you've probably at least heard of if you've played Guilty Gear, which is essentially the lower your health is, the less damage you take. So your character's like toughing it out. So there are different Guts ratings that characters have. So, which basically define, like, the higher your guts rating, the faster guts scaling will kick in, and the more intense it'll get. So there is also defense modifier, which is just a flat modifier for how much damage, like base damage, you take off of an attack. So if an attack does 100 damage and you have a defense modifier of like 0.5, you're only taking 50 damage off of it. If it has, if you have a 0.8 modifier, you're only taking 80 damage off that 100 damage move. And the reason people are like, why do they have all these mechanics? And the reason for that is because it lets them fine-tune certain kinds of characters for maximum tension. So, for instance, Chip, right? I mentioned, like, he's made of paper, right? That's because his defense modifier in, like, every game is 1.3. He takes 130% damage from all sources, I believe, before scaling. He is the highest damage modifier in the game. It's fucking, like, he is taking 130% damage off of everything. He also has, guts rating of 4, the highest guts rating in the game. So he is in, like, the highest tier of guts ratings in the game. So the idea is that Chip fucking explodes when you touch him twice. But getting that last bit of health, like that last 10% of his health bar off, or last 5% especially, is fucking, like, he hangs in there. So that's supposed to create tension. He doesn't literally die in 2 hits in games outside of Strive. That's because Strive's damage scaling is fucking whack and, like, feels like it doesn't even exist. And Guts does not feel strong in Strive, but if you go look at, like, Xrd and Plus R, scaling is way more intense. So you get, like, so you get some really interesting dynamics, I guess I would call it. Ooh, my tummy. I need to eat something. I'll do it later. So you get some actually interesting, trying to find, like, the list of different characters' defense modifiers and their guts, because it's actually, it's neat. Damage combo? Yeah, here we go. So, like, a character like, let's see, the characters with, Potemkin's another good example. So Potemkin has a guts rating of 3. Oh, 5. It goes up to 5 in Xrd. I didn't realize that. He has a guts rating of 3, which is, like, kind of in the middle. It's, like, decent scaling when he's on low health. But he takes the least damage. He has the lowest defense modifier. It's 0.93. He's taking 93% damage from everything. Compare that to a character like Raven, who takes 110% damage from everything because he's got a defense modifier of 1.10. But he is literally the only character with level 5 guts. So he fucking hangs in there. So that's, like, the... I don't know, it's an interesting dynamic. And it actually puts him on. So they actually have on the wiki on Dustloop, they have an effective health table for what is every character. If you actually just calculate, they have a little formula for calculating. Essentially, everyone has 420 health, but how much health do they actually have with all these factors taken into account? Chip does have the lowest. And Raven has one of the highest. And Potemkin still has one of the highest because his defense modifier is so low. So, the comment about they both have white hair, are the president, and get hurt easily is fucking so great. Shouts out. Shout outs. There's some really fun quotes. I was happy to see a lot of names I recognized from the Guilty Gear community. They interviewed Patrick Miller, aka Pat the Flip. If you are interested in Guilty Gear, go look up Pat the Flip's channel. He has a lot of videos from like specifically like Xrd. He's mainly an Xrd, and he plays a little bit of Plus R, but mainly an Xrd player, and he's also a chip player, a chip loyalist, and he has a lot of really interesting videos on like how to learn the game and learning fighting games in general, and a lot of really interesting like takes on how fighting games are designed. I actually really like his channel. He's great. And he hosts a weekly tournament called Rev Tuesdays for Rev 2. So they quoted him as saying, "I think he's the best Plus R chip in North America, but there aren't many of us." Also, I didn't even realize this. He works on Project L. I didn't even realize Pat the Flip works on Project L. I didn't know about that. Probably should have known that. He goes, "Chip is one of the fastest and hardest to control characters in all of fighting games. I believe that. He does a lot of stuff you can only do if you've invested a lot of time practicing in the lab. Super flashy too, not just about optimal stuff." So like in Plus R, for instance, Chip actually has very few universal combos, like combos that actually work on every member of the cast. So when you see Chips tearing it up in Plus R, they've learned character-specific combos for like everyone. They've learned them for everyone because everyone's got, you know, different weight classes, different hurt boxes, and stuff like that. It's really impressive character. Let's see. There's another quote. Oh yeah, some other people they interviewed. They interviewed Mike Rowave. So like the name Mike and then last name Rowave, Microwave. I know Microwave. He's a Potemkin player. I think I've played him before. Again, really cool thing. Expressed discomfort at the idea that Guilty Gear. So basically, he Guilty Gear XX Action Core Plus R rarely gets much attention outside of spurious cheating scandals. They didn't even bring up the Jason Riot thing. And memes like the one surrounding Biden. Quote, "The truth is that Joe Biden is about as mysterious and interesting as any other player for a niche game like this. He just has a funny username. It's not like he talks in a Joe Biden impersonation all the time or something ridiculous." And then another person they interviewed said, "Plus R doesn't really get many opportunities to hit the mainstream fighting game community. I'm glad that Joe Biden is bringing some positive attention to the scene, even if the reason is a bit silly. And hey, this is my reminder, my weekly reminder to go play Plus R, best fighting game of all time." The responses, so this was originally like tweeted out. The article was tweeted out by the Launcher Washington Post Twitter account. And then it got retweeted. Excuse me. Sorry, not retweeted, but a separate tweet from the official Washington Post account, the main account. They pushed the article themselves, which was sick. And you got a great look into when two worlds combine of the people who were following the Washington Post who don't know what the fuck any of this is and fucking Guilty Gear players. So PJ Martin says, "So what?" And of course someone replies with, "The results speak for themselves," and it's Biden getting a first place spot in a tournament. Some people, there's a couple people getting a little like, is this really important? Like there's a ridiculous clickbait. Ridiculous clickbait. Someone replies, "This is a real thing that is actually happening, and Joe Biden is one of the best Plus R players right now." The picture for the headline of the article is amazing. It's literally just Joe Biden next to Chip Zanup. I love it. Oh, there was someone getting really bent out of shape about how like, this isn't this isn't good news. This isn't good. What is this? Why are you wasting your time on this? Like they don't even know that it's from like the gaming section. Yeah, someone goes, democracy dies in the dark. Oh no, wait, that was a joke meme. Wait, there's a better one, because someone says, it's all the way down. It's way down. Ah, it's way down. Oh my god, did it not load? What the fuck? There was a great someone, like, and it was an early reply too. That basically said like, I'll summarize. That said like, democracy dies in darkness. The Washington Post slogan. And someone goes, yeah, the Zato matchup is pretty tough or something. Yeah, this was great. I was just really happy to see this. Very common Guilty Gear. Yeah, here it is. Really? You're spending time on this with everything else that's going on? Democracy dies in darkness. Vanish into dark, future now and past. Vanish into dark. Would it all drowned in pain, I lost my mind. It's no good or bad in here. Drowned in pain, I lost my mind. There's no good or bad in here. That's great. That made me happy. I'll link the article below. And hey, on the topic, I will talk about the Xrd rollback beta because I did get to try it out. So it ended, but I can give some wrapping up thoughts. I had a couple sessions on it. Honestly, for a few of my sessions, I didn't even go online because I just spent like 2 hours in training mode. That game is legitimately really fun to just play training mode, and there aren't a lot of games that I can say that about, but Xrd is genuinely one of them. I just spent a bunch of time figuring out Slayer combos, like how many pile bunkers can I fit into a combo? How many do I made a spreadsheet. I'm not kidding. I made a spreadsheet because Slayer has this one bread and butter combo. It's 2 reps of close slash far slash and then 2k 2d. So you get good damage and a knockdown. However, that only works on crouching opponents most of the time. All I knew was, this will work on standing opponents. The reason it works on crouching opponents is because, it's a combination of things. One is crouching opponents take 1 more frame of hit stun for some reason. That's just been like a thing in fighting games forever. And also, when you're crouching, your hurt box is a little wider. So certain things will literally just reach faster. So the combo into knockdown is like universal on crouching, but on standing, all I knew from like the Dustloop combo page was just, there's like a few characters that it works on standing, but for the most part, you're gonna do, instead of going into a knockdown, you're just gonna do Mappa Hunch, which is his little rush punch move. His lunging punch move, that one. So I actually went in and I literally made a spreadsheet. I went character by character, and I did both enders to see who it worked on standing. And weirdly enough, that combo works standing on, like, most of them, it works on 4 characters, from what I discovered. Potemkin, Bedman, like, okay, that makes sense. Those are like big characters. Not Heihyun. I expected it to work on Heihyun. Did not. So Potemkin, Bedman, Faust, like, okay, yeah, his regular standing quote unquote hurt box is like a little wider because he's all crunched down anyway. And then weirdly enough, answer. It works on answer. It's standing. The standing combo works on answer. That's so weird. Answer is like not a particularly wide character. He's like a sleek kind of business ninja guy. Answer is Chip Zanoff's business ninja secretary. He throws business cards like kunai. So yeah, that was weird. But I spent a lot of time in training mode. I did actually go online, and you know what? It felt great. I generally don't have any complaints. There's a couple things that could be better. There was I jumped in. I knew there were a couple bugs when it first launched, but when I played, there'd already been like an update to the beta. So a lot of those were ironed out, like the goofy ass Chip and Slayer invisibility bugs where like it messed with the rollback, so they just didn't make them invisible. So Slayer, when he's doing his like teleports, is just zipping back and forth across the stage, like sliding across the floor. It's pretty funny. I had played after like most of that stuff got patched out and fixed up. The only issues I ran into were a couple sort of random feeling disconnects where me and the opponent, we'd be playing just fine, having no issue over like multiple games, and then suddenly disconnect, and then oh shit, what? Where the game just kind of died and dropped, and it didn't seem like it was a problem on either of our ends for our connections, because the connections were very stable. And this happened a couple times with a few different people, which was a little annoying. Other than that, I mean, I had a couple games with people who did not have great connections, or were more specifically, I think, playing on Wi-Fi, because it was very inconsistent connections. But I mean, that's just going to happen with any game. Like, yeah, Wi-Fi players. I think because I made my own lobby because I couldn't find any in my region with people who like, or I couldn't really find any lobbies that were like easy to get a game in. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just start my own lobby. And it actually became pretty lively. We had a good like 6 to 8 people consistently for like 2-3 hours that I had it up. I think I did end up kicking somebody at one point because their connection was so bad. No, it wasn't because their connection was bad. It was because we disconnected, and then when you're at the little arcade setup, it'll say like waiting for the player to like join the room again. But like I guess their game just crashed or something. So me and this other person were just stuck at the cabinet, and I couldn't, they wouldn't just take them off the cabinet automatically for some reason. It has to wait for you to reconnect to the lobby. So I was just stuck there, and my solution was, thankfully being the host, I could just kick them out. So that was kind of funny. Xrd is really interesting. It felt very slow. It felt very sluggish coming off of something like Plus R. Which might sound insane, but it's just the truth. And it felt weird in a couple of ways. Like, the windows for things are wider, but the fact that they're wider means that like you can be kind of sloppy in certain ways, and it's hard to describe. But the fact that it's more forgiving and more lenient means that sometimes, like, I feel like I don't know exactly when I need to press things, if that makes sense. So, like, for instance, the Roman cancel, specifically the red Roman cancel window on Pile Bunker is weird. It's very unintuitive feeling. Like, I keep dropping it when I'm trying to get extensions, And I'm like, what? Like, why? Like, why didn't that? There's like a very specific window where after you've hit the move, but you can't just hit it like as soon as it connects. There's like a weird. I think it might have to do with the hit stop. Like the game eats inputs during hit stop or something. I have no clue, but it's weird. So just like basically a couple growing pains or adjustment pains of trying to fit into the Xrd system. But the game is damn fun. God, it is really fun. When you get a good lobby going with people who are fun to play against, it's great. It has that crack factor I think I mentioned before. The crack of just like, I just want to play more games. Slayer specifically is, I'm a little torn because I'm disappointed at the tools that he lost from the transition from like Plus R to Xrd. Much it's come at the expense or at the benefit of him being much easier to use. Like much easier to just do basic things with the character. I kind of mentioned this last time I talked about the game, but he has so many Gatlings. Like he is way less Link heavy in Xrd compared to Plus R. He has so many I'm trying to even think of the actual. There's like two important links that you have to know, and it's just the close slash far slash one, or specifically the far slash into close slash one, which is not hard. It's not a difficult link. I think I even went over the math. It's like a 4-frame link at least. No, a 7 frame. It's huge. It's not that difficult to get down. And then far slash into 2K, because that gets you a knockdown. That'll get you into 2D, which will get you a knockdown. But like, a lot of his stuff just kind of like happens. It's so much easier, and it might be less that he has more Gatlings and more that there's just a bigger input buffer. The input buffer is a huge benefit, or it makes things so much easier to do. I haven't like super familiarized myself with like all of his Gatlings in this game, because the thing is that Slayer's Gatlings in Plus R are like fucking useless. There's so few of them that are actually useful. Let me look at them. Let me actually look at his Gatlings. He can go from 5p into, we go 5p 2k. That's not bad. A lot of them is like into 6p or 5d or 6k, which like why that does not combo. That like doesn't it's basically a block string. Yeah, a lot of his Gatlings is just, do you want to get your 5d, which is like not a very good dust, or your 6p, which you cannot combo into? We've got the character for you. Also, a lot of them are delay Gatlings, which are like weird. They're like not quite links, but anyway. Way more useful shit in Plus R. Like 6H, way bigger part of the character. And it's a fun move to use too. His little spinny pirouette. Honestly, yeah, just being able to do a lot of stuff into 6H, because it's a frame trap now. Awesome. And still special cancelable. I'm just talking about random shit that he can do again, but yeah. One thing I noticed is I was very disappointed at the removal of the cross-up dandies, but they kind of kind of made up for it in a weird way. So he can't like use Dandy Step to cross up anymore, but he has like Helter Skelter, which just like inherently crosses up. And they gave his, I haven't looked at the frame data on this. It feels like his teleport dashes are way faster now. Like you can actually do much more substantial cross-ups of teleporting to two sides of the, like either side of a character and like faking them out and then hitting them with a meaty or something like that. Which becomes a lot easier when you get slowdown from Roman Cancel. So you can pull off some really, really tricky left-right mix-up. Because Slayer's never quite... He's got a little bit of high-low mix. A lot of his pressure is mainly just strike-throw. But he also does have a little bit of high-low. But they've mainly also kind of given him more left-right. This sounds very dumb to anyone who doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah, he is fun, though. He is a very fun character. I like deleting health bars. You do get more... You seem to get more stuff off of... I feel like he gets more opportunities to do really big damage. The fact that you can even combo... Like, use Pile Bunker in combos... Way more. Like, you can use way more than plus R. Means that he just gets more opportunities to do huge damage, and it's kind of cool. In plus R, it's usually just like a hard call-out move, or it's just kind of an ender. Really, Pile Bunker is not much of a combo tool in plus R. Mainly in plus R, you're going to be doing air conversions for his real, like, more complex combos, or yeah, it's pretty much it. Here, though, you get to use a lot more of the move set, which I think is neat. Yeah. And then, because after the beta ended and I was hankering for more Guilty Gear, went back and booted up Strive. Or I went forward and booted up Strive. I hit floor 9 for the first time ever. That was cool. God, it reminded me how much fun Testament is as a character. Testament is so much fun. Which is, it's a shame, because when Slayer comes out, I'm probably going to drop them. I'll always have them in the back pocket, but it's kind of an inevitability. Unless they butcher Slayer. At least I have one character that I know I enjoy. And Testament's interesting because a lot of people, when they pick them up, struggle to kind of put the pieces together, and that's because it's fun. Testament as a character has kind of like a learning hump. Like there's a hurdle you need to get over, which is how do you you can understand each of their tools in a vacuum, but actually putting them together into a game plan, it's hard to see from the outside, or when you're just starting out, how everything fits together, or why, like, what do you actually get off of a lot of their options. And then once you get past that hurdle, Testament is quite simple. Shockingly simple. A lot of the decision making is pretty much just routes back to the same thing. Go into Gravedigger, send out the bird, put stain on them, make them block. Hit them with mids until they flinch, and then you get a counter hit, or you pop stain on them. And that's really... I like that kind of a character. Number one, making people block for a long time. I love that. Skullgirls rotted my brain. I love making people block for a long time. Also the type of character who they want to make the opponent flinch and do something, pressure them until they press a button, and then oops, shouldn't have pressed. Idjit. So Testaments, one of the things that's tricky to wrap your head around with their kit is that there's a lot of gaps built into their pressure. And they aren't bad gaps. They're like frame trap kind of gaps. And they have a like really good long-reaching normals, and with disjointed hurt boxes, hitboxes and hurt boxes. So they're kind of difficult to punish on a lot of their big pokes. So the idea is basically that you just kind of finicky put stain on the opponent, and then when they have stain on them, stain is what actually makes everything plus. Because you hit them, you make them block, and then stain pops, you're plus. Now you can hit them with another thing, cycle that into Gravedigger, bird, same thing. Now they have to block, and they have to block and block and block. And I just learned a really cool trick with good old Testy. And I apparently this was discovered like at almost launch, but or at their release, but I've never seen anyone really use it. Okay, this is so cool. So, you know, in Testament, when you use Gravedigger, it leaves the heart mark. It leaves the succubus in the air, right? And then you can do two things with the succubus. You can either use Unholy Diver, which is the bird, which will send the bird towards the succubus, and if the bird hits the opponent on the way, it'll apply stain to them. Or you can teleport to the succubus. Here's the crazy thing. The succubus doesn't disappear until the bird meets it, or you teleport to it, until one of those two things is done. So while the bird is in flight, the succubus is still there. Meaning, you can set up the heart mark, do bird, send the bird out, purple Roman cancel, teleport to the succubus while the bird is mid-flight, and you can get cross-ups, you can do crazy air conversions of like getting an anti-air hit, the anti-air Gravedigger, send out the bird, PRC, teleport up, air combo. It's really fucking cool. It's so cool, and no one expects it. You can get some nasty cross-ups. Yeah, one of the other things that people kind of like struggle, once you get the basic game plan of route everything into Gravedigger to get stain on them, the next step of like, okay, how well can you pilot this character is using Arbiter Sign. So the Arbiter Sign on release was... I'm hiccuping. Arbiter Sign on release was not great. It was super duper punishable. They made it a lot faster. Still punishable. Still has problems with like tracking and stuff like that. But as like an anti-zoning thing against projectile zoners, it could be fucking... You can really mess them up. So like versus someone like Axel, I actually had a lot of trouble using it. But versus like Kai, yeah, I was playing against a couple Kais. They could not throw fireballs at me from a distance. They could not do it because I would just hit them with Arbiter Sign because I knew they were going to do it. They couldn't charge Stun Edge and then send it out from any kind of distance because I would just hit them with Arbiter Sign. I ran into like a Potemkin who just had like ridiculous defense and he just blocked everything. Arbiter Sign, overhead, now you gotta guess. And it's a great combo ender, like for a damage ender. It's really cool. It's a good move now. And I've been having genuinely just a lot of fun. A lot of fun with that character. Like when you get into the groove and when you're feeling it and you have like the rhythm and you're just keeping them tied down and you run up and throw. Oh, so good. So cool. Such a cool character. And when you really look at like high level Testament gameplay, man, there's some cool ass combos that you can do with, because Stain, getting the the stain pop. Speaking of gaps, literally stain has a gap built into it because you hit them, and then there's a delay before the explosion happens. But like getting the stain pop is just like free combo. They just pop into the air, helpless, and then you can just do whatever kind of setup you'd like. And you can do some really fun, nifty stuff. I love the succubus super. It's like, all right, fucking, you're gonna be blocking. You're gonna be blocking for a minute, dude. What a fun character. What a cool, fun character. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Not really. I'm at the 2-hour mark. My voice is tired. And I'm hungry. I'm gonna make some burger. So yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up. All right. Well, if you've been listening this far, thank you for listening to me ramble. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below, but phrase them in the form of a question, because I don't just want to read your thoughts out loud. New videos coming on the main channel sometime soon, when I start working on them again after my short little break. Patreon, the Clips channel, check it out. And yeah, that's it. Bye.